Now that you've done a mask of the model, so it should look like this, and you can see that there is a little black and white box next to the model copy, that's your mask. So this is why it is a non-destructive edit, because we can easily get rid of this and we still have the original picture right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to change the color of the frames, and then we're also going to adjust the positioning of the model as well. So what we're going to do is there's something called a quick mask. So basically what it sounds like, it's to create a mask, but a lot quicker than the previous one. So there is a button underneath your colors. If you hover over it, it says edit in quick mask mode. There's a shortcut for this where it says Q. So you can either click Q or click on this button right here, and that'll turn your layer red. Sometimes people click Q by accident and they'll see that their layers are red and they don't know why. It's because you accidentally hit Q like that and it's turning it on and off. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in to her glasses right here, and then we're going to switch to our brush tool because we're going to select her glasses to add to the mask or to create a quick mask. And we want to go up here to the options of our brush tool, make sure your mode is normal. Then we're going to click this down arrow. So we're going to do 13 size. Hardness will stay at 100, so that's good. And you'll notice now my brush is smaller. So we're going to start painting the glasses. So start from the edge. If you accidentally go outside the line like this, just Command Z to undo, or let me show you this. If you go to your eraser tool, which is right here, let me make my eraser tool bigger. You can always erase, so don't freak out if that happens. But I'm gonna keep painting the glasses. And you're gonna need to change the size once you get to this portion. So remember, brackets next to the letter P is the way you change the size of your brush. If you need to zoom in more, Command plus is the shortcut. Then hold spacebar to move around. Alright, so now we're gonna switch back to editing in standard mode. So click on this button again, or click Q again. And now you have a selection. The selection right now is for the mask. We want to inverse it because right now if we change the color, it's going to change the color of our model and not the frame, so we don't want that. So we're going to go to select at the top, inverse, and it doesn't look like it did anything, but once you change the hue and saturation of the glasses, you'll see. But now we're going to go to image at the top, then go to adjustments, and then hue saturation. You'll get this box like this. And we're gonna do the hue to 70. You'll see that it's changing the color. It's about 70 because we're trying to make it green. And then we're gonna click OK. And then you can do select, deselect, or Command D. There you go. We changed the frames to green. Once you get this done, make sure you do Command S to save, or just file save. Save your progress. And then now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to manipulate the model by using something called puppet warp, which is probably one of the coolest things in Photoshop. So we're zooming out and we're going to fit to screen to make sure you can see the entire model. And then with the model copy layer selected, which is this one, we are going to go to edit at the top, puppet warp. Click on that. And you're going to see these cool triangles. And what you're going to do is you're going to click to add pins around the body and along the base of the head. So every time you click, the puppet warp adds a pin. So around 10 to 12 pins should work. They want it around the body, so click here, one here. You'll notice it kind of starts moving. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then once we get the pins, we can select certain pins. So like this right here. If it turns blue, that means it's selected. Click on that, hold down Option, and I can move it so that she's looking either up or down. Which is pretty cool. So if you want to mess around with like the other side, so click Option, see what that does. It's pretty cool. So the goal is we're going to click this back one right here, hold Option, and we want her to look slightly more up. And then once you have it where it looks similar to mine, you're going to click the check mark right here, and it applies the puppet warp. So you can kind of see now, it used to be further down, and we moved it so that it looks up. So next we're going to make a shadow for our model. So the shortcut to select our model is Command and then click on the model, not the mask, but the model. And that's going to be selecting that. And then we're going to go up here to select and then down to save selection. We're going to name it model outline. Click OK. So the next thing is we're going to add a new layer. And this is still selected, so it's fine. So add a new layer. And we're going to label the layer shadow. Click return. And we're going to drag this underneath our model copy because our shadow is going to be behind it. And then we're going to go up here to select and mask. So if we scroll up, we can change our view to on black, and that's what gives this look. And then we're going to scroll down where it says global refinements. We're going to do the shift edge to 36%. And just make sure that your output 2 is at selection. And then you're going to click OK. And then we're going to go up here to edit, then fill. And the content, we're going to switch to black right here. And you're going to click OK. So once you have this, we're going to change the opacity of our shadow because shadows are not that dark. So the way that we change the opacity is we have the shadow selected. There's an opacity option right here. We're going to click that and switch it to 30%. For this one, I'm just going to type it in because it's easier. So 30. And then we're going to deselect our model now. So deselect. And then the next thing is we're going to rotate the shadow. So we're going to do edit, transform, and we're going to rotate. So it's going to give you this bounding box. Now, if you remember, the shortcut to get to this is actually Command T. So if I click return, if I do Command T, it gives me the same thing. It gives me the option to rotate this. So to rotate it, you'll notice your mouse will change into these arrows. Make sure it changes to the curved arrows. So we're going to rotate our shadow this way. and it's going to be at negative 15 degrees, so somewhere here. If you can't get it exact, you can, if you see up here, whenever you move this, that degrees moves, so you can actually type it in. Minus 15, return. You have to drag the shadow to the left, so click and drag it to the left by 545 in the X field. So I'm going to type it in, 545. So this is the X field right here. Then click check mark. And there you go. We're going to save. So file save. That saves our Photoshop document. And we're going to go ahead and export a JPEG. So JPEG, we're going to put this here. And then export. Make sure you add your initials before you put mask. And then save it and turn in the JPEG.